This legislation, if passed, will fulfill our commitment to keep Ontario's minimum wage at $14.
An announcement yesterday by Laurie Scott that the Ford government was freezing the minimum wage and taking away the 2 paid sick days workers were guaranteed. Then, overnight, the Labour minister says her constituency office in Lindsay was broken into.
They did write graffiti saying $15 an hour and workers will fight back. So that's the graffiti line. I can't tell you who did that. The police are in the investigation. But that is definitely, introducing legislation yesterday, doing a press conference, and then my office is vandalized after midnight. That is definitely a tie-in.
So who did it? Todd Smith, the government House leader, seemed quick to draw a connection between the vandalism and a group called 15 for Fairness, who's been campaigning
Stand up!
for a higher minimum wage.
When the group was here yesterday, I mean, they made it very clear that they were saying that Premier Ford was an enemy of workers, and when asked what kind of action he was going to be calling for, he said, stay tuned, and then we see this kind of activity happening.
Did you guys have anything to do with the vandalism for the minister's office?
We did not organize any such thing. We have been completely clear and transparent.
Did you have any knowledge of it?
None whatsoever. I learned about it on social media.
I just talked to 15 in Fairness, and they said we had nothing to do with that. Why would Minister Todd Smith bring us up like that?
Yeah, well, clearly the messaging that was spray painted in Minister Scott's office last night was the same type of messaging that we've heard from 15 in Fairness. So,
to link the two, though, like that, sir?
Well, I mean, clearly that language is what's being spray painted on Minister's constituency office wall.
So it wasn't just the vandalism. The government says the freezing of the minimum wage triggered more serious threats.
Both the Premier and Minister Wilson have received death threats as a result of yesterday's very positive announcement.
This, we believe, is the threat in question. It came via a tweet from the handle Doug Ford is garbage.
It is vitriolic, and all of us, regardless, I think, of any political stripe or any political position, have experienced these kinds of things. And no, it's not acceptable.
The government seems to think there could be more of this, saying it knows there will be sensitive times ahead. But clearly, the freezing of the minimum wage struck a nerve among some. Workers were promised a raise, and then they had that raise taken away. Nobody wants to see vandalism. Can you understand, though, why workers are upset, sir?
Actually, they had a 21% increase. Anybody that was on a minimum wage received
you had your sick days taken away, though, with respect, sir.
21% increase. Thanks, everybody. I got to go. Thanks.
The Premier's office is dark today, and that's because Doug Ford is up in Northern Ontario for an event. He did release a written statement condemning the vandalism and indicating that the OPP is investigating. At Queen's Park, Richard Southern, City News.